like the McLaren F1, no power brake, no power steering. You know, there it goes. I guess it's really not like the F1 at all, really. But, and it's about as aerodynamic as a brick. You can feel the wind just working like a giant air brake on this almost upright windshield. Welcome to an episode of J. Leno's Garage. The car we're featuring today, my 1957 Volkswagen. Well, let me tell you the story of this car. A young couple, well, they were young when they got the car. It's a 57. They got it in 68. They were college students. They eloped in this car, got married in this car, kept this car their whole life in Colorado, and Colorado can be somewhat cruel to automobiles. Eventually, it got to be in a pretty sad state. They drove it right up to just about the end, then it sat for a few years, and I got a letter saying, oh, we have such a feeling for this car. We gave it to you. Would you fix it? Would you keep? I said, sure, okay. I didn't have a Volkswagen. I'd never done one. So, all right, we brought it here. So I'm thinking, well, what could it possibly need? Hell, it needed everything. Let me bring my long-suffering mechanic in. George, come on in. I see George's been taking those testosterone pills. Just shaved this morning, and look at that, full beard by noon. That's unbelievable. It's just incredible. It's just
always
incredible.
picking on me.
Originally, I was going to do it stock. And I said, well, let's get a few upgrades. So we put four-wheel disc brakes, 90 horsepower motor, stock transmission. But other than that, it's pretty much as it was. It's the same color it would have been when it left the factory. We found that out and painted that color with the red interior. And George did a great job. First, we'll open the front here and show you. Open that up. George, I think you did all this wiring, didn't you?
I did not, actually.
Oh, you didn't? Who did this
Pull
wiring?
that forward just a tad.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ava did that, actually.
That's right. Ava, she was a brand new mechanic with us and fabricator at the time. She did a nice job. Fuse boxes. This is your fuel tank. Notice the fuel tank. You have to open the trunk to fill the tank. That's the way it was back in 57. Notice your jack and spare tire would go right here. We don't have that in right now. There's a lot of new sheet metal in this, and it took a lot of fabricating too. Jimmy Hudson, our metal man, you know, you get these replacement fenders and they don't fit, and you have to just massage them and do what you have to do, and he did a wonderful job to get it all together. I want it to look like a 57. I just wanted it to be drivable and used under modern conditions. Here, let's put it down again. There we go. Let's go back here. You know, this has got the smaller rear window, smaller tail lights. That's a brand new 1600cc engine, about 90 horsepower, modern alternator, some trick headers. It runs pretty good. It's not a rocket, obviously, but it's easily twice as fast as it was originally.
Also, this car had what was called a crash box, which is no synchronizer in first gear.
Right.
That's just awful. And so we've got a fully synchronized gearbox, which requires modifications in the shift linkage and stuff. But
That's right. Didn't we have to pull the engine out again?
yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, SCAT built this engine.
Yeah,
right?
SCAT is a terrific company. He builds a lot of the sandrail engines and all that for those guys that run the dune buggies.
Yeah, and I went there with you
Yeah.
because he also had a Cunningham, the crankshafts that they make for everything.
That's right. He's a crankshaft manufacturer. He does one. I think he made them for the Hellcats too.
Right.
I think for production.
Yeah.
He wonderful machinist, wonderful mechanics. In fact, I think it was SCAT VW Performance in Redondo Beach. Yeah, if you're looking for good Volkswagen parts and modifications, you want a nice strong engine. Boy, they do a nice job. We pretty much bought the engine as it is, dropped it in, and we had to do a few things, as George said, modify it to take the different transmission and a few other things. But it's a nice running car.
That four-wheel disc brake setup is really good. These things are always smashed in the front for two reasons. One, bad brakes,
Right.
but also they get bled wrong, so you have a hard pedal but no real brakes.
Right.
This thing will stop on a dime, and it's great.
And give you 9 cents change. That's great.
Yeah, I've been
right.
saving that money up too. By
Yeah,
the way.
that's we got that from SCAT as well, didn't we?
Did they do the brake conversion? I don't know.
Maybe they referred it to us. 'Cause, yeah, we outsourced a lot of this, but it was a lot of work. The body needed a lot of straightening, a lot of dings and dents, and being Colorado Springs and ungalvanized steel, it just rusted out. So we really took the whole thing apart, got everything to fit properly, all new rubber in here, all new seals. And now it's like a fun car to drive. It's, you know, when I was a kid, everybody had one of these. There was nothing special about it. Now people are going to go, oh, this is really cool, because most people never ridden in one. You know, that's what makes it kind of fun. So, yeah. All right, we'll put some cameras in it and we'll take it for a spin. And, well, it's a Volkswagen. Come on, let's check it out. Well, let's take it for a ride. George, I give you a lift, but insurance regulations, you know.
Oh, gee,
yeah.
thanks.
Wish I could do it, yeah. All right, let's see.
Right.
Out she goes.
Hope it starts. It starts.
Sounds throaty. Got the big block. Yes, sir. Some horsepower. It actually goes pretty good. You know, with the 36 horsepower, I think you're just going to get run over in traffic. Just people knocking you out of the way. You know, but now it's nice. And it stops, it handles. Still not the safest thing on the road. You got your gas tank right in front of you. In fact, when Ralph Nader wrote his book, Unsafe at Any Speed, about how dangerous the Corvair was, the Corvair was just one chapter. These were actually considered much more dangerous, probably more crushable. This is a pre-war design. This whole car was designed before World War II was over. But when I was a kid, when I was in college, you know, you could buy Volkswagens for $100, $150 out of a junkyard, make a sand rail out of it, make a dune buggy, make all kinds of things. People made a whole living sort of modifying these. You forget how primitive these things are. Like being in an echo chamber. But 90 horsepower in a car this light, that's pretty good. Horsepower cures a lot of problems. Like the McLaren F1, no power brake, no power steering. You know, there it goes. I guess it's really not like the F1 at all, really. But. We put one of those modern retro radios in this, so it kind of looks original, but, well, not really. It's digital, but kind of looks original. I like that it's got an ashtray. They figure that you might not have a lot of amenities, but oh, you got everybody smokes. Of course, you got to have an ashtray. Speedometer goes to 80. Ooh. Boy, these brakes work great. When these came out, they had such a reputation for reliability, and they had the greatest advertising campaign. I can't remember the name of the advertising firm, but very creative ads, you know, like you drive a lemon and if it goes in the water, it'll float. And one of my favorites was, how does a man with a snowplow get to the snowplow? And the commercial opens with the Volkswagen drives through the snow, gets to the garage door, opens the door, the plow's in there, and he drives out, you know. So, very effective ads. Real tongue-in-cheek kind of ads they had for these things. In fact, Woody Allen had a movie called Sleeper. I think it came out in '73, and there's a scene where he wakes up, you know, a couple of hundred years in the future, and he goes into a cave, and there's a Volkswagen in the cave, and he opens the door, he turns the key, and it starts, and the whole audience erupts in laughter because after watching all the ads about what a great car it was and all that kind of stuff, it just got a huge reaction. I remember I thought it was pretty funny. People would kill for a reputation like that today. miles an hour, rock steady. The Model T was the most produced car in the world till this came along. And I think this beat the Model T. They wound up building them in Mexico and a bunch of other places as well. And it's about as aerodynamic as a brick. You can feel the wind just working like a giant air brake on this almost upright windshield. Got into a discussion recently about how aerodynamic the Volkswagen is. A lot of people think, well, Ferdinand Porsche designed it. It was considered aerodynamic at its time. But everything I read said, no, the boxy sort of shape, the upright windshield, kind of a low coefficient of drag. And I have to go with that one, I think, because you realize the top speed with the 36 horsepower engine wasn't very much. So aerodynamics did not play a big role, I think, in designing this. If it was designed to be a 100-mile-an-hour car, maybe, but the average speed probably is around 35 to 40 miles an hour, and aerodynamics don't really play much of a role in when you're going that slowly. It's kind of fun. I must have been getting a kick out of driving it. Cars that were around in 1957. American cars were getting huge, giant Cadillacs, big Buicks. Chrome was put on with a trowel, just the complete opposite of this minimalist thinking. But this is the car that led to the Valiant by Chrysler, the Falcon by Ford, the Corvair by Chevrolet. They could see people were flocking to buy these cars because they were good on gas and economical and cheap to run, no antifreeze, none of that kind of stuff. So kind of opened the door to air cooling. I don't think the Corvair ever would have been built if it hadn't been for Volkswagen. And this really was the best of the small cars. What was that called? The two-cylinder one, the 360 or something like that? A horrible car. You had that one. You had the Panhard was actually pretty good. You had Renault 2CV. You had the Carvel or Caravelle, whatever it was by Renault. And my uncle bought one of those things. My uncle Tony was the artist of the family. And when he showed up with the Renault, it had a country horn and a city horn. Went beep, 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 beep. My father, what kind of car is this for a man to drive? It's not a man's car. My father's all upset. My uncle bought that stupid thing. Great turning radius. Moves along pretty good though, I gotta admit. This was the definition of basic transportation back in the 60s and early 70s. This is what you got. Remember they used to sell a gas heater. You could hook into the fuel line, you'd light it with a match, and oh, it'd give you heat, I guess, if you didn't burn to death. Sorry, this segment is not as long as some of the others, but we pretty much bought an assembled engine and dropped it in, so we didn't have to do a lot of work there. We did a lot of the body work. Bear did a great job with the paint and body. Didn't want to use any Bondo or anything on it. Jimmy did a great job on the metal. George helped us keep it tuned up. And it's a great car for running around. So that's what it was, 1957 Volkswagen. So we'll see you guys next week.